How's it going? I'm so excited today because we're in Trivium. We've got the frontman Matt Heafy joining us, and I'm so excited because their new album rips, you guys. And by the way, if you are a record collector, buy it from Tower Records because it's cheaper than Amazon. I just checked; it's about $18 on Tower Records and 21 on Amazon. So Matt's going to be joining us. Let me see if he has joined us yet. There he is. And guys, please feel free to ask questions in the comments. We will be patrolling them. And so if there's anything, what's up, Matt?
Hey, how are you? Thanks so much for having me. Nice shirt.
Hey, thanks, man. It's
Very
just
nice
making me miss go to concerts a lot.
I am with you so much there, so much.
I can't wait to get into it with you because that is something that I certainly really love about Trivium. You guys are so fun in concert. But first, congratulations on the album. It's amazing.
Thank you so much.
How has the reception been, and what was it like to release an album during quarantine?
It's crazy. Both ends of that question are crazy. I'll answer the latter first. We recognized with everyone being stuck at home, some people are at home and able to work, some people are furloughed, some people are currently unemployed. We wanted to give them something that could just help them either forget about what's happening or have some solace, some comfort, whatever they need the record to be, whether it's their therapist's couch or their punching bag or their shoulder to cry on. We felt it was our responsibility to get this music out so people have something to enjoy. With that being said, I'm so happy we didn't push it a day, a week, or anything because I think it's overall charted #2 in the US, #8 in Portugal, #10 in Poland. It's some of the highest place we've ever had ever in every country. So I'm very happy to see that. Our fans are absolutely incredible. And yeah, I'm glad we're giving people something to enjoy right now.
The world needs metal right now more than ever, I think.
Yes, absolutely. And I need a shave more than ever and a haircut more than ever.
Me too. You can't see it, but I've got a beard going on too.
This is like 2 months too. It's kind of sad. It's the best
no way. That's wild.
Yeah, that's all I can do. And it's bright red too. Sorry, I know we're not talking about my beard right now, but it's bright red. It's my Irish third.
That's amazing. Well, I want to touch on something that you just said, which is that you guys love your fans. Clearly you interact with your fans a lot because you've been streaming for years. And something that I wanted to say is that the reason why I love your concerts so much, aside from the fact that you guys are so fun live, is that you guys really seem to foster a dynamic with your fans that is just positivity, and you guys seem to have a lot of that's why the concerts are so fun. It's not like going to a black metal show where like everybody's just like this. People are having a great time. What do you think it is about your fans, and what do you think it is about the community that you guys harness?
We realized really early on for Trivium, we've only ever been a press band on our second record, Ascendancy, and only in the UK. That was the only time that ever happened. That was the only time in history where our band was on every single magazine cover, every award, hailed as the next biggest or best band in the world, with also a bunch of 18-year-olds echoing that statement, us saying we're going to take over the planet and being kind of brash and maybe not arrogant, but confident at least. When we did that, a lot of the bands that were around at the same time were not into that. So quickly, we did not really have other bands that we're allies with. Now we get along with everyone, but at that time, people didn't really know us. They were growing up.
You guys were young, too.
Yeah, 18, 19, say we're going to take over the world. So I think it scared a lot of bands, and it made some bands not really into that. So already at that moment, we became not a band's band. The very next record in the UK, the same country that said we'd be the biggest band in the world, those same magazines then said we were the worst band in the world and tried to bury us. So then all of a sudden we weren't a press band. But all we ever had, the consistent that we've always had, was that we've always had our fans supporting us. They've known that. We've known that. And that's why we've always given them everything that we are, because they allow us and they help remind us and support us so that we can keep doing what we do. And that's why, like I decided to start live streaming about 3 years ago, and I've given so much of myself to that. 5 days a week off tour, 7 days a week on tour, free shows. Every single day of every minute of every hour of the streams are free. So people just have a place to be where they can be with like-minded people and have a great time. And I know that they know this, and we know that of them as well, that we wouldn't exist without them. What's interesting, though, is this record cycle, is things are starting to pick up. Now the UK is finally coming back around, saying we're back. And it's like, man, we were never away. We were never gone. But yeah, it's good times, and it's all thanks to our fans. And I believe that positive energy comes from One of the best stories I can give is that every merch guy we ever had, merch guys usually work for anywhere from 1 to 10 bands a year, or have worked with maybe 50 to 100 bands in their career. They've always said Trivium fans are the nicest, most polite fans they've ever met. And I've always loved that. And I feel that maybe it's an extension, maybe fans are extensions of the people in that band. I don't know how they're getting that politeness and that niceness and that happiness from us on stage. It's usually it's like a celebration. It's serious. I'm not as jokey as I am on stream as I am on stage, obviously, but perhaps it is that. And we've always wanted our music to be that outlet, and that's why we've always addressed dark and intense things thematically, so that way we can get out of our system. And I feel like that people and that our fans that love our music are able to get that same connection, and they experience that same catharsis by even just listening to it and being able to connect with the music. So I think that that's why we're all positive, and that's why we're happy. So we're getting it out. We're acknowledging that it's there, acknowledging that the world can be bad, that life can be bad, but it's for the sake of getting it out of our system. It's not burying it. Yeah, it's not burying it. It's getting it out.
That's so interesting to hear you say that, because that's what I say to all of my friends and my family who don't listen to metal, is that actually metalheads can be some of the happiest people on the planet, because they're acknowledging the dark things that are just part of humanity, and they have an outlet for that. And so a lot of them are pretty happy to do it.
Absolutely, absolutely. Everyone always says, like, Matt, why are you such a happy, nice guy and you play such angry music? I'm like, well, I get to get it out is why. I have a lot of outlets that help keep me sane.
For sure. Now, I've heard you mention this. I was just reading this amazing Billboard feature that you guys did, and it's so good. And you mentioned this briefly, that talking about the difference between being a press band and not being a press band. And I know something that you've mentioned with this new album is that it's sort of a departure from your last stuff, in that your approach is that you want to just make music that you guys would want to listen to. And that's so interesting to me to hear, because I feel like all of your music at its core still has that element of just being really revitalizing and energizing. And I think that that's another reason why it's so fun in concert. But can you talk a little bit about kind of returning to your roots in that way?
Definitely. The one thing we want to do with this record is, like you said exactly, is we wanted to make the kind of music that we want to make. We didn't think, are people going to like this? Are people going to dislike this? So we've done this multiple times in our career, but I'll address more so the times that we consciously decided not to do this. On the Crusade, Vengeance Falls, and Silence of the Snow, while they're records that I really am proud of and really do love, those are the only times in our history where we've said, let's stay in this lane. Let's stay away from these ingredients or those ingredients. Crusade was my decision to rebel against everything Ascendancy was. There were a lot of reasons, but one of those reasons was we saw that Ascendancy was essentially a perfect record. We're like, we don't need to do this again. Anything that Ascendancy had, let's do the opposite. There's screaming, let's get rid of screaming. There's breakdowns, get rid of breakdowns. So I don't know if that was I mean, it's a good move in the end, but it's a very risky move to take your entire formula and say, I'm going to do the exact opposite. So with the Crusade, that was the time. Vengeance Falls and Silence, those producers that we were working with, they said, all right, I have an idea how I want to do this record. Let's not be too overly committed to the structures, which is a good idea, because bands get a thing called demoitis. When the way they've made the song, they're so committed to it, they are not willing to change. Like, well, it's always been this way, so it's going to stay this way. So I understand why both those producers want to do that. So they want to keep the material malleable. And we also said, let's not go too extreme. Obviously, Silence of the Snow, again, has no screaming. It's more going back to like the traditional roots of our first favorite bands versus allowing everything to be there. So the other 6 records aren't those 3 that we're told or we're decided to stay in a lane of Trivium, which is good, because we have to explore different avenues. Those other 6, we didn't set rules. We said, let's just make exactly what we want to make. There are no rules. Whatever we love, whatever makes us feel good or makes us feel excited. And with those 6 records, we always made sure we had the music pretty much finished and fleshed out in the jam room between the 4 of us before ever setting foot in the studio. So those are a couple of those ingredients that we realized that we really need to have with our band at all times.
That has got to be mind-blowing to me, honestly, reconciling as an artist, and this is something that I've been talking with other musicians about as well, but trying to reconcile what fans expect of you, what the industry as a whole expects of you, and then also not becoming stale as a musician and wanting to try new things and experiment and constantly build on top of what you've already made. How do you balance that? Or is it just something that you try not to overthink?
I mean, nowadays, with our last 2 records being something that our fans as a whole have loved so much, because we've always been that band that every record has a different cult set of fans. Like Ascendancy, for example, did incredibly well in the UK, didn't really do much in Europe at first. Germany, the breakthrough album for us, was our 5th album in Waves. Australia was our 4th album, Shogun. The US, it was kind of Sin in the Sentence, which is our 8th record, maybe South of the Snow, our 7th record. So every country had a different favorite, and all of our different fans, if you ask them, they'd likely either say Ascendancy, Shogun, and Waves, or now Dead Men. They would say which one they felt the best is. So with us, we know that all of that is Trivium, and when we don't set those rules and we just make what we feel, what you hear this natural outcome of the last two records is really who we are. So it's nice. We don't overplan it anymore, and we make sure we never set writing time for our band. We never say, all right, we're going to write now, or we're going to sit and we have this amount of deadline. We just allow creativity to happen when it happens. If a song is ever taking too long, we'll take a break from it. We never try to force anything. Anything that feels forced, we stop now. We're very lucky, and I think it's very interesting that records 1 through 8 all sound completely different from each other, which is pretty rare. It's pretty rare that a band will have 8 records where you never know what you're getting into, but 8 and 9 are nice because I feel like both are a reflection of the best elements of everything before it.
Yeah, that's so interesting, and I think that speaks to your work as well, saying that now you guys can just work from a place of what you want to create. So congratulations to you on that. It's so interesting. Yeah, I think you're my first interview that I've had that is not a stranger to streaming, and I want to talk to you about it because a lot of this quarantine series that we've been doing is like, oh, how have you been staying busy? How have you been connecting with fans? But you're not a stranger to that at all. Do you think that more people have been hopping on that train? What has your experience been like on Twitch?
Massively. I was really lucky that 3 years ago I decided to start streaming on Twitch. So 3 years ago I picked it up. I picked up like PS4 and a webcam. Had 10 or 5 people watching me at any given time, and I didn't take it super serious. I didn't know too much about it. But the 2.5-year mark ago, I was invited to Twitch HQ because they saw I was a band guy who was streaming, and the 2 people that gave me the tour, Brandon and John, were big Trivium fans. They met me. They came out to the show. They lent me one of their live streaming backpacks. So I started streaming our shows from that moment. I loved it. On a vacation back to San Francisco, my wife and I would go up there a lot to get tattooed and eat and have food vacations. We met up with Brandon and John and their wives, and I told them how much I love Twitch. Like, man, this is so amazing, but I wish I could stream more. I can't because I have to practice 1 to 3 hours a day, stay in shape, because I blew my voice out in 2014, and I like to stay conditioned at all times. Brandon looks at me and goes, why don't you stream that? I said, Brandon, no one wants to watch me do vocal exercise and play the same Trivium song every day. He's like, I bet you they do. And so as of that moment, the channel went from like 15 people to like 150, then 250, and now it's one of the top music channels, if not the top music channel on all the platforms, which is pretty incredible. I partnered with Twitch. I'm doing all their help guides now. So when people go to help.twitch.tv, it's going to be 12 videos of me explaining everything from the ethos of Twitch to how to rig up a guitar or to how to use a microphone in this. Any band guy that's hit me up, that's band guy or band woman that's had any questions on how to stream, I've always said, just let me know. I'll help you out. This morning I was helping out at least 2 or 3 different musicians by Twitter DMs, and then I've done some FaceTimes with a couple other guys that help Brandon Saller from Atreyu get set up, Devin Townsend get set up, Josh from Architects get set up, Carl from Nile. Anybody that needs help, I'm happy to show you what it takes. And the main thing I've been telling everybody is that it's not like a normal live streaming platform. It's not just you performing into a camera. It's the 2-way interaction. It's host and chat. It's like a show. But it's even more than that. It's even more than a show in that you can have that direct community response right away. And I hope that more people do it. And I keep saying the biggest mistake is to say, when I build a rig. You don't have to. You can start just like this. You can start on your phone, start there, and slowly build up in time as you go from there.
Well, I think to your point, one of the reasons why the Trivium community is so close-knit and kind of has each other's back is because they do feel like they're part of the community, and that has a lot to do with you involving them in your live streams. I know that you also play video games sometimes, and I was wondering, now you are known as being a Twitch musician, you also play games. Are you planning at all on intersecting those things? Because I've seen a lot of people during this quarantine do like Fortnite concerts, Minecraft concerts. What do you think of that?
We've had a lot of the Fortnite developers come out to our show in North Carolina. I told all of them, if you ever want Trivium, we will do it in a heartbeat. I don't know if we're their demographic. They usually have like rap or like pop or EDM in it. But my whole point is to try to take over gaming music with good music, with metal. I feel like metal is the more appropriate video gaming music. I feel like metal is the more appropriate martial arts music. What's odd is like a lot of, I don't want to say games, because game devs do have good tasting music. It's more so gamers and practitioners of martial arts and gyms and game streams that usually have really bad music, in my opinion, and they need more metal, and why not be Trivium?
Speaking as someone who does martial arts and also plays video games, I couldn't agree more.
Yes. Oh, you also do martial arts as well?
Yeah, I'm a
Oh,
black belt.
oh, that's awesome. What do you train?
Taekwondo. I mean, nothing lately, but
Yeah, that's awesome. No, that's awesome. That's awesome. I've been doing jiu-jitsu for about 7 years. That rules.
Amazing.
My striking is terrible. My striking is terrible though. So you could.
You know, listening to metal helps. I gotta say, and like that's also something I always go back to. By the way, you're my first metal musician that I've interviewed on Tower, and like that's my thing. And so I'm
That's
so
awesome.
talking with you. And you were right. It's great for working out. Great for doing martial arts.
Yeah, every jiu-jitsu gym I've ever been to, it's usually like top 40 pop love songs of people. Well, people are trying to break each other's arms and choke each other out. Like, man, this is just not right. This is incorrect. So we're trying to work on that. But as far as the intersection goes, we did get to headline the first American DreamHack Festival, which was amazing. It was primarily a gaming festival, but we're like the first metal band to ever headline one of those things. I'm personally working on one top secret thing for something in that realm, and then Trivium's working on another top secret thing in that realm. I was just playing Fortnite with my favorite Twitch streamer in the world, Dakotas, who's also from Orlando. So we play every week. Normally, what we do, we play in the morning, and then we go eat somewhere awesome. But we haven't been able to do that in a while. So we do that. My main game was Fortnite for a couple of years. Overwatch was the first game I streamed. I'm better at Overwatch than anything else, and I've been playing a lot of Valorant lately. The music stuff is generally about 75 to 90% of the stream time, and the rest is games.
Yeah. I can't believe how busy you are, dude. Because you also have kids. You make music, you stream almost full time, and you have kids. I don't understand where you find time to do all this stuff.
Today was extra tough, too, because today we had their 1.5-year appointment, and our kids are like super big and super strong, and they don't want to be there right now. And so, like, we're trying to like get Akira's height, and he's like getting really pissed off and screaming. He's really strong. Like, he picked up a 25-pound kettlebell, he dragged a 30-pound sandbag, and he's 18 months. So I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Today's definitely one of those days. It's like, man, there was not enough minutes in.
You're just building tiny super soldiers out there.
I guess so, because I am not naturally strong at all, and that's why I picked jiu-jitsu. Because jiu-jitsu, you don't need to be strong. It's just like leverage. And I know I'm not strong or fast, but I think my son is naturally very strong. We'll start them both in jiu-jitsu when they're 5 or 6. I can imagine Mia's going to be really good. She's already taken him down multiple times. Yeah, we'll see. Cool. Yeah, it is. It's awesome.
I can't wait to see them in your music videos. I feel like that would be an amazing. And let's talk about that, because you guys release actually some of my favorite music videos that metal bands do. I think that metal bands can fall into a category of really cringy. Even if the band is great, sometimes the music videos are like just a bunch of dudes standing around in a forest or a parking lot. Super high contrast, but you guys are so consistent in your design. And I want to talk specifically about the ones that you released recently, Bleed Into Me and the Catastrophist a couple months ago, which had kind of a similar story with this Bleed Into Me with this music video thing, which we can obviously guess where those influences came from. But I love that they have this like cool horror movie vibe and this really interesting story. What was that process like, and how are the two related?
You're so correct about it. It is weird how metal and rock seem to have a well that has dried up a long time ago for creativity. Look at indie rock or look at hip hop or rap. They have some of the greatest music videos I've seen. Thankfully, we found this amazing videographer named Ryan McFall. I didn't know this until we started speaking to him, until he already started writing the treatments for the first video, that he'd essentially been a Trivium fan since 2005. We played this legendary download show in 2005 where we were an unknown band essentially in the whole planet, but the UK liked us. We were bumped up from playing the 5th stage of the festival to opening the main stage. We walked up at 10:59. There was no one there in this gigantic field. And at 11 o'clock, 40,000 people came running up, and everyone knew every single word. But Ryan was one of the kids at that show. So he's essentially been with our band since then, which I've always loved, to work with people who want to work with us. We gave Ryan the extensive batch of visual arts and the music and the lyrics, and we said, go nuts, basically. We want to see what you come up with, because we've always been very, very influenced by visual artists while not being able to create visual art ourselves. This record, my wife is our art director. She found all these amazing artists to do everything. For us, we look at everything as having to be of the same standard as the music. The lyrics are as important as the music, is as important as the videos, as the promo photos, as the merch, and that's why everything is this world that all works together. We make sure everything goes. Rammstein has always been my favorite band for music videos. I've always loved it that they don't have the traditional video, and when they do, they flip it in its own way that's so different. We started experimenting with that idea on In Waves. So I feel like it really wasn't until In Waves that we figured out our style of visuals, but we want each video to be its own mini movie that doesn't necessarily have to have a starting and a stopping point. I think that's one of the pitfalls. Like, that's why In Waves the video is so great. Built to Fall is also very good, but we feel it was a little too specific with the details. So this one, we like to leave a lot up for interpretation, and we just want to keep cranking out things that are very different from everyone else, and approach things very differently than everyone else does it, and the way that we've done it in the past.
You know, it's interesting. All of your videos seem to have this atmospheric, almost horror movie vibe. Are you guys horror fans?
We definitely are, but I really liked this new kind of, I guess you could call it psychological horror, essentially, like movies like Hereditary or Witch.
I was going to say, I feel like your music videos belong on A24.
Yes, something like that. Or I absolutely loved Parasite. I feel like those kinds of things that really challenge the way you think. I remember one of the German interviews we did on this record, he told me that Catastrophist was the most terrifying video he'd ever seen. I was like, oh, I thought that was kind of a bold claim. But he was saying because it represents how humanity is, how at the most intense, painful scenes for the heroine of the video that we were laughing. And even when I watch that scene, it's like hard to watch, but you see, it makes you even start questioning like what that references to. And especially the way the world is right now, when you feel those connections to art, I feel like that's when it's so important. Because there's enough of, I think there's a time and a place for life is good, everything is happy music. There's a time and a place for that. I understand that should be there too. But as we talked about before, the significance of what we do is addressing dark things so that you can learn from them or learn from mistakes or get those feelings out. And that's the idea of what those videos are about.
Yeah, and we've talked about using what the Dead Men Say as a way to sort of get your aggression out. But do you have in your mind, I'm always curious about if musicians have like an ideal circumstance to listen to their album. For this album, what would be like the thing that you would want to be doing? The thing that would you be driving, eating, drinking? What would you want fans to be doing?
I mean, my favorite things in life are jiu-jitsu and food and hanging out with friends and all of that. I think the ideal listening situation for this record would be old school style, sitting in front of fantastic reference monitors or speakers with the record itself, the actual vinyl. So you can read through the lyrics, look at the artwork. I feel like we're really presented a thing that is just as deep visually as it is musically. So I hope that people can enjoy it in that old sense. It was interesting this time around, like not being able to go to a record store like I normally do and buying the record first day. That's what I've done that every single record we've ever done, ever. Release day, I've been able to go buy the CD in person. So to buy it digitally and then also order it, wait for it to show up, and then be streaming the whole record for thousands of people from around the world while live playing it without my band. It's interesting times, but I feel like it's important to adapt while you have to. And I see a lot of people talking about like when we get back to normal, and every time I say that to anybody, I would say when we get back to normal, because already normal was strange, and then I guess the next normal is going to require more adaptation again.
Yeah, we're always growing and evolving, and honestly, I think that's really interesting that Tower Records is reviving itself during this quarantine because we all have to figure out, we can't exactly pop down to our local record store. So bless Tower.
But you can order our records from Tower Records.
Yes, you can. Yes. And I was saying at the beginning of the chat, it's actually it's more affordable on Tower than it is Amazon, and Amazon's on strike. So support
Tower Records, baby, get it.
I wanted to ask you about your tour because this was going to be such an amazing one.
Yep.
Megadeth and Lamb of God, two huge metal bands. Tell me a little bit about you guys. We're supposed to be on tour right now, correct?
This one was supposed to happen. What month is it? What month is it right now? Is it May?
I don't know.
So I was being interviewed by a clown from Slipknot 2 days ago, or maybe it was yesterday. He asked me how old I was, and I had no idea. I think I'm like 34, 35. It's one of those. So I think it's supposed to be in June. Right now the plan is that it's still up, but I keep telling people at worst, a tour of that size, it just gets moved. I really feel for bands that are our size and below who have their own tours of just them or like a smaller package tour. That's going to be hard to move. But a tour of Megadeth, Lamb of God, Trivium, and Flames, that's very, very easy tour to lift and move over and set down. So I think it's always better to err on the side of caution, especially like I mentioned earlier, for people who have been laid off or for people who are furloughed right now, they want to be able to enjoy that show in a proper way. So hopefully it can be moved to a place where they can get a beer if they want to, or they can get a T-shirt if they want to when they're at those shows, so they can truly enjoy the whole experience. But that lineup's insane. Megadeth is one of the first bands that ever got me into metal. In Flames is actually a band that without whom Trivium wouldn't exist. Specifically, their Jester Race through Reroutes for Remain records. Without those, I wouldn't be here. They were one of the biggest influences on me ever as a band. Lamb of God, I've always been really into. I got into them around 2003, 2004, and it was one of my favorite bands. So it's a killer lineup.
It's always comforting to hear when your favorite musicians say, "Don't worry, it'll still happen." this is not the end of going to concerts,
Yeah,
for those of you who are like me, that's like the thing that I look forward to.
Yep.
So very, very comforting.
Awesome.
Matt, do you collect records?
I do. I have a huge collection. The stuff I mainly collect is black metal, so I have a massive black metal collection.
Cool.
My mother-in-law also gave me all her classic rock records, so I've got like original pressings of Fleetwood Mac and Bob Seger, and my father-in-law is like a country guy who's also has his, I think he's got his doctorate in classical music as well. So I have all these super old, like 30s, 40s, 50s records of classical music, country, folk, all that. So I've got a massive collection over there in my room.
Do you have like a top 5 or like a desert island album that you would pick? I'm gonna say top 5 if you can.
Top 5. Depeche Mode Violator, which isn't an original pressing, but it's definitely one of my favorite records. Queen Night at the Opera. My Emperor box set, which I believe has like 20 records in it. It's like everything Emperor has ever done ever, all on vinyl pressing, special color box set. Thing's monstrous. It's like several $100 thing I had to order from Europe and import over here. What else? Jester Race by In Flames, because that's one of my favorite records of all time. And then we'll say Black Album by Metallica, because that was the first metal record I ever heard in my life.
Gotta have a Metallica in there. Man, I want to go to your desert island. That sounds fun.
Oh, yeah. I bring a lot of things. I'm the guy in the band that has way more bags than everyone else.
Really?
I bring like 2 full-size suitcases that are entirely full for like a 2-week tour. See, the thing is, I reckon...
with you on tour. I didn't know that.
Well, I bring music on the phone, but it's a lot of other stuff. It's like protein powders and protein bars and foam rollers and clothes and gaming rig and streaming rig, and I recognize that I might be slightly high maintenance, but I take care of it myself.
Yeah.
So
well, plus, I mean, a streaming rig is, you could think of it as like a way you are giving back. You're continuing to connect with fans. I say it's fine.
Yeah, and I've got 2. I've got like the gaming laptop rig, and I've got the backpack streaming rig. So it's a lot of stuff I bring out.
That's amazing. I know that you mentioned that games don't really feature metal a lot. Have you played Doom?
Yes, that game is awesome. I would like to score that game. I know they've got their guy right now, but if he's ever looking to collab, I'm in.
That's an interesting take on something that I've been asking musicians a lot lately, because a lot of them are big fans of movies and would like to score movies or like to work with certain directors. But I love the take that it's scoring Doom instead.
Yeah, I'd love to do both. There was a little while where I was doing scoring for like local businesses, smaller businesses around Florida and the country, so I really like doing that stuff as well. Like anytime, oddly, if I'm ever given a task to write for something that isn't Trivium, I can do it very quickly and very well. But when it's Trivium, for some reason, I need a lot more time. I don't know why.
For sure. Well, Doom, I know the programmers are in this chat listening.
Let's go. Let's do it. I'm in. I'm ready. I've got the 8-string guitars ready to go. Let's do it.
Oh my God. I know that you don't have a ton of time with us, so I would love to just give you the opportunity to have the floor. And you have so many fans in your chat right now who are giving you guys so much love for your new album. Is there anything that you guys want to say regarding your new album or regarding quarantine or anything else?
Yeah, buy the record right now, the actual physical record from Tower Records. Stream the hell out of the record as much as you can on every platform so you get that record. And Twitch.tv/MatthewKHeafy, 5 days a week, twice a day, 6 hours a day, free music, free show, free connectivity with awesome people. I saw someone from Russia, so spasiba. Saw someone from Indonesia, terima kasih. Saw someone from Brazil, obrigado. And what other countries we got? A whole bunch of countries in there. So
amazing, so impressive, dude. I always like to close out our interviews by asking something that Tower really it is a big part of their ethos, and that is no music, no life. So what does that mean to you?
I mean, it is the probably literal definition of me. If I didn't have Trivium, I joined this band when I was 12. It's the first band, first job. My second, quote, job in life is playing Trivium songs to Trivium fans while live streaming it. So it's all I've ever known. I got into jiu-jitsu and yoga and food and travel and art because of Trivium. If I didn't have it, I wouldn't exist. It's all I know, and everything is from this. Gaming is from this. Streaming is from this. Friends, and family, and my kids are from this. It's all from one way or another. Music making it happen.
Well said. I love that. Matt, thank you so much for joining me today. You guys rule. You're so impressive. I love your Twitch. Like it's so fun to see you do what you're doing, especially because we need it now more than ever.
Awesome. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you for an amazing chat. Really appreciate it.
Yes, and guys, don't forget to stream what the Dead Men Say and keep on tuning in into Tower Records. We've got lots more bands, and we'll see you next time. Bye, y'all.
Thank you so much. Take care.
Bye.
Bye-bye.